congratulations. Truly an inspirational group. You amaze all of us in this room, and we're forever indebted to you. And as I said earlier, you deserve our unqualified support. Now, to wrap up this evening, I want to turn the program over to Marceline White. As you all know, as she was here earlier, is the new president of AID. Prior to AID, Marceline was the acting director of the Greater Access to Trade Expansion GATE project at USAID. Before that, she served as the director of the Global Trade Program at the Women's Edge and the director of the Population Program at the Sierra Club. Marceline has just finished the organization's strategic planning process for the next 3 years, and I'm pleased to invite her to close tonight's award by briefly sharing the plans going forward. Marceline?
Thank you all very much. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be brief, but I just want to tell you again what an honor it is to be here with all of you. And I want to thank Pace and Beth Cohen for this event. And I want to just tell you that every time I get to know more people that have been involved with AI democracy, and every time I get to know more people who've partnered with us, I am more and more thrilled to be leading this organization, to be working with everyone here in this room tonight. I want to share a brief story and then tell you a little bit about what we're planning as we go forward. First of all, congratulations again to all the winners. And I want to say that I've been very inspired by all of the stories. Jonathan said quite a bit that I found very inspirational, but one of the things that I was reminded of is that I would be very remiss if I did not now mention what my 4-year-old son loves more than anything, which is superheroes. And I think given the people we've talked about tonight and the winners that we've seen here, that's very easy to do. I think everyone in this room has embodied the qualities of superheroes, particularly humility, a real sense of justice, and a real energy and zeal to be able to carry out a vision and mission despite the odds, when they're seen as flaky or weird, whether they're wearing unitards or business suits. They've been able to actually achieve great things given almost undeniable and insurmountable odds. So my son will be very happy that I was able to work that in, and I'm happy that I was reminded by Jonathan. Seth talked about how inspired he was by Nelson Mandela, and I just want to mention that I too was inspired by Nelson Mandela. When I was 14, a few years ago, I was able to have the opportunity to go to London. In fact, my French class, if you took French for 2 years, you got to go to London and then Paris because you didn't learn very good French in Missouri. So, it's true. And so I studied for 2 years, and we went to France, but we stopped in London first. And while I was in London, I stumbled upon Trafalgar Square. I saw a bunch of young punk rock kids. I was very interested, and I asked them what they were doing. And they were at a demonstration for Nelson Mandela, who was imprisoned at the time during the apartheid struggle. And I said, who is Nelson Mandela, and what are you talking about? Because I hadn't heard about any of these global issues where I grew up, although my family was very active and very engaged in politics on a very local level and on a statewide level. So I was informed at that point about Nelson Mandela and apartheid. Well, flash forward when I was 18 and I was at the University of Missouri, and the university began to be engaged in the divestment movement. So at 18, I took what I had learned at 16 and began to be very involved in the anti-apartheid movement in Missouri, and was actually one of the people who was very engaged in making sure that that university eventually divested its funds from South Africa. So hearing Seth's story, flashing forward, years later, where Nelson Mandela was the president of South Africa and was talking about debt relief, just shows me what being informed can do, and taking that information and carrying it out and carrying it forward can really do in terms of being part of a social change. That incremental knowledge that I got in London led to my work in Missouri, which was a very, very small part of contributing to the end of apartheid and to Nelson Mandela. So it's really an inspiration that I hold very dear, and one that I feel very strongly about maintaining that kind of vision and that role that AI democracy has served for people today. I think we all have heard the role and the inspiration that AI democracy has served. What it has done is it's brought together people to become aware. It's given people information and knowledge about global issues. And once they become informed, how can you help them become active? And I think what we found is that it's engaged people and talked about these issues in a consensual way, in a way that really says, let's not talk about what divides us, what unites us. Let's talk about a shared vision. Because one of the great things that's happened since Seth started the organization is that issues like climate change are not controversial now. Issues like debt relief, there's a strong vision. There's a strong vision that we have a carbon footprint we have to deal with. There's a strong vision that poverty is a real issue that affects security. Poverty is a real issue that we can do something about today. And young people have new ideas, they have new models, they have new approaches to these issues. One of the things we want to do is continue to build on that foundation and harness those ideas, that energy, that vision and commitment. We're continuing to work to raise awareness with our 23,000 people and to grow that number and expand. We are working to provide toolkits. As Matthew mentioned, people want tangible, practical things they can do. So we're working to provide ways for people to model some of the successes we've heard tonight so that you can work on your campus to create change and positive impact once you have the knowledge and we provide you with the tools and the assistance. And you can take that to the community. You can build these coalitions outside of the campus to the community to pass urban environmental accords and giving people new tools to do that. And there's legislation and things we can be engaged with on a national level to create a positive global impact, to make sure that a youthful vision is heard that wants new models, has some answers, and wants to see our officials also responding wherever they are on the political spectrum, that there's a real idea and a real solution to these issues, and we need to have the vision and the courage to take those on, especially at a time where the U.S. is at a really important crossroads. We're providing people with the tools to be active. We're also trying to harness the entrepreneurial vision that Seth has had and that we want to build on by growing our Young Professionals Network. As many people know, AID has been mainly focused on campuses, but once people graduate, what happens? We're both losing members, and there are many people who've been under the umbrella of AID who would like to be able to continue that kind of work. So we're working very much, and we're very interested in all of you in the room who've graduated, who want to continue to work with AID. You can, and there's a home for you, and we're working to build our Young Professionals Networks to take these tools and campaigns and develop them in a way that makes sense for young people who are very busy but have so much more to offer and so much to contribute both in their professional life with new experiences and new skills, and a way to also inspire the generation right behind them, a year or two behind them. And we are also working to continue to release the entrepreneurial zeal of many of the innovators you've heard about tonight. One of the things we found is that whether we're sitting in the New Haven office or now our Baltimore office, we are not going to have all the answers, and we are not going to develop campaigns sitting in Baltimore that are going to make sense for everybody in this room or across the country. So we're developing tools, user-generated content, campaigns, where people are developing their ideas of how to create climate change awareness and action on their campuses, how to solve malaria, how to raise money for malaria, and raise awareness on their campuses. And what we found is those models have been very successful because they reflect the reality of the campuses and they reflect people's original thinking. And we're building more campaigns and more models so that people can really come up with solutions that work well in their communities, and we can extrapolate and roll those out. What we're also doing is trying to work with high schools. We have a very successful program called Global Scholar, which is a 2-week program for high school students to learn about international issues. So you don't have to go to London like I did, but you can go to Virginia and learn about global issues and then become inspired and find out what you can do when you go back to your high school or as you go into college. And we're hoping to expand that and do that in more places throughout the year because we think information is important and people have the energies and ideas and vision in this room, and young people have new models and tools to address many of the pressing global challenges that face us. And we want to be able to provide a platform and a home and a venue for people to use these tools. I see my role as really being able to allow our staff, who's amazing here, Sam and Courtney are here and back, and they've been doing an amazing job. Do you guys want to stand up for just a second? We have a few other people back home. My job is really just to support them and mentor them in allowing them to go forward and really work with everyone in this room and across our campuses to resolve these global problems and find new ways to do so. So I invite everyone to check out our website, which is aidemocracy.org, and contact us if you want to be involved in the Young Professional Network. And we're also going to be trying to do organization. A lot of my job is going to be raising money, so contact us about that as well. And also trying to do things like make sure we have insurance. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I want to thank you for supporting AI Democracy and supporting and recognizing all the winners tonight. And thanks again.